Well, good afternoon, folks. December 3rd, it's a little after 4:20 p.m., and I'm making this video instead of doing a Zoom call because I know everybody's very busy with this holiday season. I hope you're having a great Christmas season and getting to spend some time with your family because that's really important this time of year. My name is John Bouche. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Montgomery County Republican Party, and I just wanted to give you an update on what's happening with the Republican Party in the complaints that have filed with the Secretary of State and with the Republican Party and what the way forward looks like. So bear with me for a minute. I have some information. I did type up some notes because it's a lot to remember and I got to keep things in order. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me at 281-907-3989, and I'm certainly happy to answer all your questions. This video will be public on YouTube. Feel free to share it. Everything I'm going to tell you is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and it's factual, so I don't care who sees it. We don't do things under cover of darkness out here. We just don't do that. So let's get to it. There was an 8M complaint filed against our chairman by a majority of the party for some of the unethical things that he has been doing and the way he's been breaking the rules and even breaking the law, actually, of our state, the laws of our state. So an 8M was filed against him, and that 8M is Republican Party of Texas Rule 8M, which allows for the party or the chairman to request that the officials committee for the state party review a set of circumstances and determine if it has merit to go forward to a mediation process. Well, the officials committee looked at it and unanimously ruled that our complaint did have merit to go forward to the mediation process. Now, the mediation process was scheduled, and our chairman tried to remove himself from the mediation process, which makes no sense because he's part of the mediation process. He's the target of the 8M report that was filed by the CEC. So after he was told that, yeah, pretty much you have to be part of this, he went ahead and agreed to the mediation process. Now, while the mediation process was being discussed, a resolution was presented to the SREC, the State Republican Executive Committee, but was tabled pending the outcome of mediation. So had he canceled out a mediation, we would have just gone straight forward with the resolution at the next meeting, which is coming up in a few days, December 9th and 10th in Austin. But we did get to the mediation process. Now, at the mediation process, our team consisted of precinct chairs John Wirtz, Allison Winter, Robert Walker, and myself, the vice chair of the party. And when we sat down, our ask was simple. We wanted the chairman to show up at the meetings that were properly called by the party, which he's refused to do at this point, and to chair the meetings impartially and respect the vote of the majority. We wanted him to stop trying to manipulate the rules to move the meetings online, where he has already demonstrated that he will delete votes, mute people's microphones, and refuse to hear points of order. And that's just not proper. I mean, so that's all we wanted. Show up and do your job and respect the vote of the majority. But that was obviously a bridge too far for him. His team consisted of him, James Byers, I think Linda Stuckey, Susan Johnson, and they had their lawyer on the phone also, who had Zoomed in. Now, we weren't in the same room with them, but the mediation lasted 4 hours, and the majority of that time was spent over with them, the mediation team. We just kind of sat in the room and chatted the whole time because, as I said, our ask was very, very simple. And at the end of the mediation process, Chairman Rinaldi came in and said, here's their final offer. And essentially, as Chairman Rinaldi and Matt Patrick, the other member of the mediation team, was walking out the door because the time limit had run out, Brian Chris basically made his final offer of respect everything I want, give me everything I want, and let all the people that I've wrongly appointed personally, essentially, to stand, and all that would be against the will of the majority that had voted against those things. And so it was a non-starter. So mediation did fail. So now the next step is it goes to the SREC meeting, and the motion that was the resolution that was tabled can be brought up, or another resolution presented, which I will put a copy of the resolution that's being presented in the email that I'm sending you that's going to have this video link on it. I'll also put some other information on there for you so that you'll have. So far, at least 10 people, and I think there's 3 or 4 more that have filed complaints against Chairman Chris with the Secretary of State. These are criminal complaints because what he's doing is a violation of Texas Penal Code 3710 by tampering with a government document. So when the CEC elects a precinct chair in accordance with their rules to fill a vacancy, and the chairman refuses to report it to the Secretary of State and instead reports a different name by someone who was not properly elected to a position that was not even vacant, that is a crime, punishable by up to a year in jail and a $4,000 fine. And he's done this 3 times now, and there's, I think, 5 or 6 more that he's about to do this with. So there's been multiple criminal complaints filed against him for this, as well as multiple violations of the Texas Election Code for not reporting vacancies, for not reporting positions on time in a timely manner to the Secretary of State, and maintaining an accurate roster. All those things are part of his responsibility. So he is derelict in his statutory responsibilities in multiple areas and has committed, in my estimation, some crimes, but that hasn't been adjudicated yet, but is pretty clear. And throughout this entire process, I want to be clear about something. This is not an unknowingly mistake, incompetence thing. Whenever he would start to do this, as a vice chair, I would send him a letter and say, Chairman Christ, what you're doing here is illegal. It is a violation of Section 3710 of the Texas Penal Code. Or what you're doing here is legal. We have no vacancies. You're trying to fill a vacancy that doesn't exist. You're violating this section of the Texas Election Code by not reporting these people. So this was all knowingly done. So don't let him fool you and say, I didn't know better. He absolutely knew better. So after the SREC meeting, I intend to follow up with the Secretary of State, but I want to have the information from the Republican Party of Texas after they review this, the circumstances and the complaints, etc. I want them to review all the information, and I want to get an opinion from them on this so we can supplement the record. I mean, it's pretty clear, but it just makes it a lot stronger when you go to the Secretary of State and say, here's a complaint, here's all the evidence, and we know it's clear, but oh, by the way, here's what the state party says too. That makes it a lot better. And here's what's at stake. If we lose our party to this unethical cabal that just runs roughshod over the rules and the laws of our state, Montgomery County's done. As a reminder of who these people are, I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up of Chairman Chris back in 2014 when he and his wife, and this picture is, by the way, from the cover of one of the local papers, and it shows Chairman Chris handing out voter guide information wearing a Tea Party shirt. This enterprising group just showed up at the polls during the primary with Tea Party shirts on and impersonated the Tea Party to get their candidates elected. Much the same way they're doing it now with their Republican Voters of Texas PAC, where they impersonate the Republican Party and confuse voters, and their newly formed Montgomery County Republican Club, which if you've ever seen anything advertised, it says, Chairman Christ invites you to come to this. If you read the fine print on the bottom, it's a Montgomery County Republican Club, but he's using party resources in his title as the chair to advertise these things and blur the lines between he and his wife's organizations and the Republican Party here. So they've doing, this is nothing new to them. They've been doing this for a long time. And if we allow them to continue to undermine and control the Republican Party here, there'll just be no way to stop them. I mean, going forward, you're going to have conservative candidates. They'll have to run against this little cabal, and not only will this cabal present themselves as a Republican Party, and as we've seen in the past, work with Democrats if they have to defeat the conservatives in this county, but they'll be doing so under the cover of the Republican Party brand, and we just can't have that happen. I also want you to pay really close attention to the people that are going along with this. There's about 28 to 30 of them of the 111 CEC members. Now, some of them you may just say, well, they don't really know what's going on. They're bamboozled by the chairman and his wife and what they're telling them, because they are very convincing liars, I tell you. But if they're that gullible, do you really want these people in office? And if they're not that gullible, that means they're going along with it, which means they're corrupt. And you really don't want them in office. And it's really scary is one of them supposedly being slated and groomed to run for sheriff. So imagine someone like that running for sheriff who has that sort of moral compass. You don't want that in here. I mean, I don't think at the lowest office, if this is how they conduct themselves as a county executive committee member, just imagine what they would do if elected to a higher office. We just can't have that. We're terrible. We can't have them undermining the public trust and confidence in the Republican brand. We just can't have it. Now, the good news is, at this moment in time, we do have an opportunity to stop this and deal a very damaging blow to this corrupt group, and we can shine a light on their deceptive electioneering practices, and that's what we're doing. We do have the right people in place and that know how to fight these people. And all of us have sacrificed a lot to get us to this point. Now, I believe we have been very deliberative and patient, and this has moved through this very tedious process as prescribed in the RPT rules, but we are making progress, and we must stay the course. But right now, mostly, we need for you to stay engaged, because the only hope that Chairman Christ and his minority faction of the party have is if they create enough confusion and acrimony within the party to frustrate good people like you into just walking away. And when you do that, it's over, because there won't be enough of us to fight this. It's a very powerful group that we're going up against. So we need you to stay the course and help us out. So in the strongest terms, I'm going to urge you to be at the December 6th meeting in the Woodlands. That is a special meeting where all this stuff is set to be settled. We need you there. We need you to stand strong. The information from that meeting we're going to take in hand to Austin for the SREC meeting on December 9th and 10th. But we need you to be there. So again, I'm John Bouche, Vice Chairman, Montgomery County Republican Party. If you have any questions at all, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Give me a call, 281-907-3989. Thanks for tuning in. God bless you, and I will talk to you soon.